Hello. Have you ever heard that the Mass is often compared to the experience of the disciples who were on the road to Emmaus? Well, let me tell you that the Mass has often been compared to that experience because the structure of that encounter closely mirrors the two main parts of the Mass, the liturgy of the Word and the liturgy of the Eucharist. And I've covered those in previous videos. So, how is it that these two are connected? Well, first of all, we have the gathering. The two disciples were walking together, confused and discouraged after Jesus' crucifixion. Jesus came to them, although they did not recognize him. So let me just put a picture up here. Let's see. Let's try this one first. Okay, here we go. So here's a picture that's often shown two men who are traveling with Jesus. Now, what about at Mass then? Well, at Mass, we gather as God's people, often bringing our worries, our joys, our struggles. Christ is already present among us even before we realize it. All right, so that's the first thing. Secondly, what about the liturgy of the Word? That's the second most important part of the Mass. I'm sorry, second part of the Mass, first most important part. Jesus walked with the disciples and explained the scriptures, showing how everything pointed to the Messiah. Quote, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures. End quote. What about at Mass? Well, we hear readings from the Old Testament, the Psalms, the epistles or letters, and the Gospel. Like the disciples, we allow Christ to open our minds and hearts through his word. The homily helps explain how the scriptures apply to our lives. Then we have the third part, which is the third part of the Mass, but the second most important part. And I'm going to put up a different picture to show you here. This is a picture of stained glass that is in Canada. I listen to Mass from Canada each day, and this is one of the pictures that they show. I really like this one because it shows that it's a woman that could be with Jesus, not necessarily just two men. So let's look at the liturgy of the Eucharist then. When the two had reached Emmaus and Jesus with them, Jesus took bread, blessed it, broke it, and gave it to them. Well, those four actions are the very actions Jesus performed at the Last Supper, and they're echoed at every Mass. At that moment, quote, their eyes were opened and they recognized him. Beautiful quote, end quote. At Mass, Catholics believe they encounter the risen Christ most fully in the Eucharist. Just as the disciples recognized Jesus in the breaking of the bread, we recognize him in the Holy Eucharist. Then we have the dismissal. After recognizing Jesus, the disciples immediately returned to Jerusalem to tell the apostles what had happened. At Mass, we are sent forth with the dismissal, go in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life, to share the good news through our words and actions. So I'm going to put up one more picture here as I'm speaking. Okay, here we go. Let's pull that up. Come on. There we go. The Emmaus story can be seen as a miniature Mass. Why? Because we have the gathering, Jesus joins his disciples, and we have the introductory rites. Then we have the liturgy of the word. Jesus explains the scriptures, and we have that part here. Liturgy of the Eucharist, Jesus breaks the bread and they recognize him. And the dismissal, the disciples go out to proclaim the resurrection. This is why many theologians call the road to Emmaus the first Eucharistic catechesis. It beautifully illustrates that Christ reveals himself to his followers through both the scriptures and the Eucharist. As the disciples later reflected, were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us? I love that quote. That is just so beautiful to me. And that's what he does if we pay attention to his word. Their journey continues to be the pattern for every Catholic Mass. Christ speaks to us in his word, reveals himself in the breaking of the bread, and sends us out to witness to the world. This beautiful pattern reminds us that every Mass is an encounter with the risen Christ. We meet him, we hear him, we receive him, and we are sent to share him with the world. And that's what I hope to do through these Catholic videos that I send you. All right. Well, thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. God bless you.